Thank you very much, Chuti. I hope you can all hear us in order. Yes, 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 superb. Thank you very much for the introduction. We are facing a very interesting evening. The Launchpad program is a rather new one. It was actually launched in the first half of last year, so it's still relatively new. And the way it turned out is that due to the lack of internal capacities, we actually engaged someone we used to know from the crypto world before, Mike and his team, so they were the ones to help us implement this physically. So basically, the development part itself is pretty much done, and there are operative reasons why the whole system only came together by now, which is also true for the incubator program that Chuti already talked to you about on a number of occasions. And I am delighted that it's also so close to Chuti's heart, and he puts it in focus and participates in this very actively. So what you will see today is largely down to Chuti and Mike and his team. It's something they did. And what you need to know is that we have already worked with a lot of different teams. And there are very few teams, actually close to zero, that we could work with so much professionalism and success as them. So we could just sit back, leave the development to them, and also the development of the program's details. So thank you very much. And with that, I don't want to take your time. I'll pass the floor to Mike. And hats off to him, because he is extremely reliable and he's heading a reliable and superb team. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for your words of appreciation. Patty, it's particularly good to hear this from you. A very warm welcome from us. As the gentleman explained before me, I have been honored with the opportunity to present the result of our joint work. Chuti, Patty, if there is anything, any details I should go into, if I speak too slowly or too fast, go over things too fast, please do interrupt me at any time and say to me what else to explain. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is everything okay? Yes, everything is okay. So I would start by sharing my screen with the team. So let's start from the beginning. Can you see my screen? Yes, you should see the Launchpad, Mosaic Launchpad. Yes, great. Today, I'm going to show you three different platforms. There is a public platform, which is the one we will start with. That's what you can see now. The second platform is for the projects who were selected into the Mosaic team. And then the third one is the administration platform, the super admin of Mosaic, via which they can control the different functions. So let's go for it. Well, here we are on the platform of Launchpad, and if I want to make a contribution, I can see this very sweet picture here that we took from the world of Mosaic. And let's start from the projects, so projects, and we actually took on two demo projects. They are in different stages, as you can see. The first one is in private sale, which means, well, the private sale status project are the ones where only those who have MLP tokens can invest into. And I don't want to go into the MLP token. I assume it's known to everyone. It was a very important question that because, of course, the different tokens have different rights attached to them. And when I show you the data sheet of these projects, then I'm going to explain more deeply. And the other one is a platform where if the amount that they set for themselves is not reached, I assume you know about soft cap and hard cap. The soft cap is the minimum amount that needs to be reached to launch the project, and the hard cap is what is taken, accepted from the contribution in the given time scale. So if that is reached, then the sum of contribution is returned to everyone who participated in the project. So it's just a quick flash up, but I'll start with some more boring parts, because in the bottom line corner, you can see this quality, and I brought my tokens, disconnect wallet, sorry, and I brought my tokens so that I can show you how to invest. So here is my own profile, and I want to see what my details are. I am an investor right now, and the KYC status is verified. So what does that mean? You can see that there are demo parts and need help parts, and we prepared an overall knowledge base with all the relevant information regarding the product, and you all have to go through this KYC process. It's required from the band, so we know who uses the platform, who want to contribute, but it's only needed when I decide to contribute. When I decide to register for the platform, I can do it using an email, and I can also attach a wallet to it optionally, and I can review the projects that are listed here. And when I decided that it's okay, I want to participate in this project, I have to go through the KYC process. And I don't want to show you the KYC process itself because it's very boring and very administrative, but I'm sure you have all seen it, everyone who is here. You have to go through a regular process where there are different identification steps, and an external service provider gives the rating, qualification, and once you receive your badge, well, you become a full user. You can see the connected wallets here, and that's important because as Mosaic runs on a substate, we really wanted to give the opportunity to those who have EVM and substate wallets to invest. I can actually connect a number of different wallets. Well, as to how I make my contribution, it depends on where I store the appropriate tokens and what kind of wallet type I have a preference for. But when it comes to claiming, and you will see it later when it comes to the project data sheet, you need to have a substrate wallet, because the requirement is that the projects that come up here should run on the Mosaic chain, and the tokens should be created on the Mosaic chain. And of course, to get the tokens, the contributors also need to have substrate wallet. And I can look at my own tier level, and if I'm not sure what it means or how it comes together, you can look under the tier levels table. It is actually fully in line with what we already explained and what was communicated to you by the team. You can see the history, the wallet history. I attached a number of different wallets before. There are very simple reasons for it. If I decide to contribute not in one wallet but in several, then I can do that through this platform. Under my profile, there are different investments and token claim parts, and I'm not going to go into this now because we'll come back to that when we look at the different investment portfolios of the wallets, so we'll come back here. But at this point, well, there are two parts. Why do I have to do KYC? And I say, okay, there's a short description, but I'm not sure what that means. Then you can click on more when a new page comes up. where in detail it's written what it means, how it looks, who needs to do it, etc., etc. And the whole store of knowledge that you can see here. And we try to build it up so that we can answer any potential questions that can come up in such a contribution process. So we added them all, and you can actually reach it on the learning tag. There are links here, but of course the relevant ones are already connected to this. Before I go into the project parts, I can show you what it is that's accessible by the others. The first point is that we have the for projects tag. So if I want to participate in this and we apply to launch, and then there is a very detailed questionnaire that the projects need to go through. And I'm not going to go into individual questions due to the time restriction. You can see it's like a survey questionnaire based on which the Mosaic team can evaluate which project it is worth working with. Obviously, the incubator hub connection will also be explained by Chuti, but this is a point where the two tracks come together. So practically, each and every project needs to go through a due diligence process before it gets out. So we can say, okay, my project was entered into a system. There are 10 projects allocated to the users. So what do we know about this? So this is the platform that you can see now, which is seen by all of the project owners who were entered in the system before. And one project owner can have several projects belonging to them. So we can assume that there are some who have many good projects. So if I quickly want to review how my project is doing, well, you can use the Project Insights platform for this. You can see the contribution amount so far in the given round that you are in. And you can see the different rounds here, and all the details that you can see here will be also displayed on the project datasheet. It's like an overview form here. So I can see when it will finish and at what prices or along what prices the USDT tokens and the tokens relevant to the given project move along with. And I can look at and export as to who there is with wallets. And of course, the platform doesn't know any personal data about these deals. It's a very important GDPR issue, but you can actually, if you want to say what data can be displayed on the contributor list, we decided that in a research project, we compare this with other launchpads to see what the best practices are. And we also checked out the legislative framework to see what is allowed or not. And if I go into my projects, then I can edit the projects. So these are the same details as you could see in the questionnaire. I can give them here, name of the project, the website, description, category, venue, via what community platform it can be reached. So the documentation again is mandatory in each and every case, and you will see them again on the project side. And there's a lot of information linked to the projects, such as information about the token. These are classical details that can be read from the token, name, symbol, total token supply, where it can be accessed, etc., etc. So this is information that you already know in this group, but we always have to give all of this to ensure full transparency. And there is information about the contribution itself, soft cap, hard cap, minimum, maximum allocation, and how many tokens are issued, what rounds there are, and what we should do with the sold tokens, and when certain rounds are launched in these cases. And there's also a project overview part where the project can write as much about itself as it wishes. So it's pretty much like a Word platform with some exaggeration. So you can format it nicely, add pictures, make it more attractive, etc., etc. And once you actually take on this data, you can also add team members, you can take best team categories. You can see the different cases on this ring chart to see what percentage is transferred in each allocation category during this particular session. And there are also tokens that can be shared. It's also important to note that this data can only be taken on once. And then every time after this, the admin needs to approve them. So you can see the projects waiting for approval. And if the admin says that they are okay, it's only then that they are displayed on the main page. But if they are not okay, the admin will throw it back for further editing or say that you need to provide additional data for us to approve the project, because without that, the story is not whole. And of course, the stable data, the fixed data cannot be modified later to avoid abuse and fraud. But of course, if there is any action like collaboration, or if there's a press publication or any information that's relevant to investors, then it's possible to share them in on the platform, and they will be continually displayed with a timestamp. There is this third super platform. This is the full dashboard that Mosaic can see. You can see the sum of contributions, the number of projects in a given month, what happened to them, how many contributions, allocations took place in the given month, not just in terms of value, but also the number of people involved. It's always looking at the number of unique contributors, because if someone contributes in a project several times, they are counted as one. And then that will produce proper true statistics. And you can look at them here and you can edit them here. So the super admin can see the project owners who are in the system, how many projects are allocated to them and which ones in particular. And they can also allocate these categories. And the categories can be extended fully. We'll show you when we get to the project list, because we have a filter system and we also have users with MLPs. We actually took on a few for the demo, but you can actually import here all the users with MLPs. And then if someone is missed out, then you can add them manually. So it's made sure that no one's MLP is lost and there are no later issues because they bought an MLP but cannot use their rights about the MLP. On the content management page, you can add success stories. They are always published on the main page, which means that if there is a successful investment and an article is published about how good it was and what excellent collaboration was created as a result, then Mosaic can say, oh, it's a cool story, we can put it on the wall of pride. And under Learn More, you can add educational content if you feel you need more than what we already added. And under Community, you can again, in an editable way, add any changes. So if there's a change, everyone gets up-to-date information to be able to follow these social media platforms. You can set all of the admin users. We only have one here in the demo system, but you can add further users who have the rights explained before, and we can also add the different chains that they support. And let's go to the part you are all waiting for. And now I'm looking at Chuti a little bit, whether he wants to tell a story or not. But before you take over, Chuti, I would only say when I open a project page, just to connect my sentences, and before I make the investment, I'll pass the floor to Chuti. But what I explain now is that at the admin platform or via the admin platform, we took some data. You can see them here, the token information, the end of the round, how much was allocated, who contributed, etc., etc. So you all know this from 2 minutes ago. You can see also the data about the team, allocation, update, community. They are all editable, can be connected, white paper, tokenomics, etc., etc. And at this point, I pass the floor to Chuti. Thank you. The tempo is good. So at least the interpreters can get a small breath while I slow down a bit. So first of all, I do trust, and by the way, thank you very much for writing in the meantime that you very much like the platform and what was prepared. Well, you can see, as we said last Thursday, it's a complex story. It's a very complex story. It's not just about the Launchpad itself, but it's about an entire ecosystem that's built upon it. And you can see that the projects that emerge on the Launchpad, well, must be supplied with all the relevant information for you. And this is the point from where the incubator hub story is starting, because these projects are put in the incubator hub, and if they meet all of the criteria, and I thank you if you bring that page back. Yes. So you can see all the different buttons. So you can see that you are reaching all the things that are required for a calm and well-considered decision to be made. So on the one hand, there is verification, all the licenses, etc., or all the other processes. And as I mentioned before, as Mickey said, also you need to go through the KYC process, but you know it all. But please don't be worried, because it's a new platform like it was with WebOffice and then Alpha and then on China and Explorer. Of course, there are new expressions, new words. So just to touch upon a few of them, we'll quickly go through them. But when we get to the moment when we can truly activate this and the license is also available, at that point, we will have sufficient information and training to be able to go through this thoroughly. And we will also have the user manual and video that shows their use. What is also important and was mentioned at the beginning is about the Mosaic Launchpad tokens. Well, we explained last week how the tokens are transformed into Mosaic Launchpad tokens. I also noted DocuStore for myself, and the Learning Hub expression refers to that. It's a little bit like the DocuStore of Mosaic, and you can see that it's already filled with lots of detailed information. So if you choose any particular topic, you will find the answers there. And also, when it comes to the team, if you show it once again, I thank you, because when you go on team, you can go into their LinkedIn profiles. You can look at them. Of course, this person is just a demo person, and it's a temporary profile picture, but in real life, all of the team members will be here with all the relevant information. And the success stories themselves are also very important in this story, because if there is any progress made in the team, they will be displayed here. So they can regularly document what's happening, and you can see what's happening on their side. You can continually see where they are in the process, how many supporters they have, at what percentage of the target sum they are at. So you could see the processes relative to USDT. So you will have a lot of information available to you. And the incubator program itself serves the purpose of, first of all, finding the projects and allocate to them the platforms where they can check in. And that doesn't only mean what you could see a moment ago, which is that on an online platform, there is a completable data sheet that you need to actually fully complete for being assessed. But there is also a kind of event structure, and by that I mean live events where the projects have the opportunity to introduce themselves. So, well, the primary objective, because it would be too demanding, is not to say that you can only actually apply if you have all of the boxes checked to join the incubator house. So we don't say that, because it might happen that there is an excellent idea, but it's a single person commando, so to say, and they are nowhere yet, but it's an excellent idea. Or it may be that there is a team working together, but they are stuck due to lack of resources, but you can see that already made progress. So maybe there was an angel investor involved. So they got to some level, and then now they want to leap to a new level. So you can see that the entry limits are also different. And we try and support this idea by building up a process system that allows even single persons with an idea to get to a hub level, to the hub level. So we don't let go of their hands if it's indeed a project that looks promising to the team that assesses it. And if they believe that it would be good to link it to Mosaic in the future, that would mean that this project comes to exist under our mentorship. And as Attila and Betty talked about, of course, the idea is to put these tokens on a Mosaic blockchain, but it's not a firm requirement. If there are really good ideas, good projects, and we are not going to let go, it also adds to our reputation to support this project. And of course, there is an entry level that you need to fulfill once you are through all this process. So you can look at the white papers, whether they have a license, a team, and who does what. And in the requirement level that we built up, it's actually broken down to such a level that their customer communication, customer service platform must be such that they can look after it themselves. So if you see an opportunity in supporting project X or Y, well, they will likely ask questions, and there must be somewhere to turn to with the questions. So this part should also go through Mosaic, because in the end, we could actually operate a multinational customer service point in the lack of it, but we try to judge in advance and assess in advance how we could do it in the most efficient and smoothest way, and how we can carry people through this process. The boys already said at the outset that even despite the most correct checks and the highest level of due diligence, we cannot say that everything that's added to Launchpad will be a resounding success story and it will fly. But one thing is certain, all the red flags, anything that we see must be settled, resolved before they can join. So they need to provide the relevant development, or you name it. And of course, as these projects are progressing through this process, there are certain milestones they need to reach for them to be able to move on. And you can see a diary where the different dates are preset already. And Mickey mentioned this in a different context. But of course, irrespectively of all this, well, they also provide support for the various projects. So you cannot say that, okay, I have this support and there is nothing I need to do. No, you need to perform, because we need performance to make Launchpad successful. And it's important to make sure that projects are enjoying themselves when they are on the Launchpad. And we also assume that the projects that apply but don't get in feel that it shows a certain standard to get in here. And we don't just throw out any projects at random, but there is a very thorough checklist. And perhaps people will also feel the strength of it and say, okay, I want to check in here again, but now I know what it is I need to do and what my opportunities will be. So it's not just a process that will take us to the incubator house, where the project will be carried through a mentorship program, but we also wish to build a community that will obviously reinforce this whole idea. And with that, I'll pass the floor back. I'm just checking quickly if there is anything else that I noted for myself. No, I've been through it, and I still took notes to supplement my points. Okay. So here, perhaps, I close my demo with the most interesting part. So I'd like to make my contribution or allocation in the demo project. So I want to contribute 150 USDTs. So the platform will immediately calculate how big a bonus I will get and how many STLs I'll have. And it says, okay, it will be done because I am actually entitled to participate in this. And then the platform checks through all of the criteria I need to meet for me to be able to invest. Here, of course, in the demo system, I comply with all, and I say, okay, let's invest. So it's waiting for a confirm that you cannot see. It will pop up for me. You cannot see, but I'm actually pushing the confirm buttons as I speak. And as you can see, there is the transaction underneath, and we'll get a notification of this. Yes, and I press the second confirm. And it's done. So I get a description about what will happen. So the details relevant to the project are displayed. I made my allocation. You can see how much, what will happen, where I can follow events in the meantime. I also get a summary of exactly how much, how many tokens I'll get at the end, what the size of my contribution allocation was, and what kind of claim and testing period I have to calculate with, and I'll come back to that, and I can also download the relevant receipt. And I get an email as well with the same summary, and you can see the same here. Just as a reminder, I also get a confirmation link which shows the logo of Mosaic Launchpad. So I received this, And when I showed Chuti the demo before the demo, I showed it to him. So I have the same email again. So under investments, you can see if an item is on a contribution list, you can see. Well, unfortunately, here they didn't reach what they wanted to, but you can also see what's running and how progress is going. They are at 1.4% right now. And once again, I look at the project and my contribution on the token platform. I can see that the token is only activated once the whole story is completed. But anyway, I can see how much I'll be able to get in contributions and when, on what dates, and on what it's running, and then I can actually take out the tokens for real. So that was all from me. We went through all of the functions, but if you have any questions, please ask them now. Feel free to ask them, and I'm more than happy to answer. I was looking in the meantime, and I'll try and answer the questions that I can. Thank you very much on behalf of everyone for being so positive. It really comes through, and that you like the platform. So a big thank you for that, because of course it involves significant teamwork on your part. Thank you also, and we are delighted to hear. So you asked about the high token and the Launchpad token. And last time and early today, maybe some people joined later, I said that we are introducing to you Launchpad now because firstly it's completed, and perhaps now you understand what I said last Thursday about why we decided to show it to you now when we have the complex, complete picture and not just parts of it. Because as you can see, the different factors are interconnected here, and you can see how complex it is. So when we get to the moment when Launchpad can be actually launched, and that of course is linked to the license, it's not a short process that will take a day or two. Attila and Peter already talked about this. We even timed the video as you asked, so you can actually look back and listen to again and view what the boys said about this particular part. But of course, we will come back to this later. But of course, it's the high token that works as a Mosaic token. So somebody is asking the following. They also purchased the Launchpad support package, and where can they download the page and where they can see it. You don't need to download it. It can be seen in the same way as Explorer when we get there. Obviously, this link is not public as yet because we are still smartening it up a little bit, and we'll still have some meetings about this. And once we get there, then naturally it will become public, be public to you. So there's a question about how the project will be successful, how we can turn it into opportunities, or how will, for example, a development team find out about it if they have a groundbreaking idea. And this is what I was trying to say. We actually built up a system that also creates a platform for this. But of course, we still need marketing activities, and we also need to be able to communicate via the platforms where we can reach the highest possible number of such projects. But don't forget one thing. If there are partners who are purchasing not only a support package, but the so-called patronage package, we already said last time that there will be an exchange opportunity. You can change them into shares to a proportion of 1:5. And last Thursday, I said we would come back to this when we get there. Because if we had done it when we said originally September 30th last year, and if we had made a decision, well, we believe it was better as it is, because now you can see what there is and what else will be coming with this whole story, and then you can make a decision about whether you keep the NFDs, the patron NFDs, or whether you change it into the new ones. So the question is about how successful not just a given project can be, but also the launch platform. And of course, if you have this, then you have the opportunity to bring in projects, but of course, only projects that meet the criteria that we mostly described to you. We didn't go into the details too much, but it says the team must be in order, they need to have a white paper, a license if relevant, the roadmap should be in place, the social platforms should also work, and there should be dedicated tasks to each team member. So there's a significant level expected, or high level expected. And of course, we want to bring up to this level all of the projects that are of high quality. And of course, the patron NFD people can also do that. And there will also be a pitch opportunity where you can go up on stage and say, I have such and such a project, and then you can immediately go ahead, but it's a complex story. So we need the projects, we need communication, the community, mentoring, checkups, and of course, we need the people who see an opportunity in these projects and who are supported in coming. Because of course, Mosaic Launchpad as this one as one of the factors that set them apart, namely that there is a huge community around it that is open to such projects. A lot of people already understand what we are talking about or what the projects are talking about. And as a result, the decision is easier. And secondly, they can be there from the very start, because it doesn't happen very often in our lives that we can be right there waiting for the excellent opportunities. But I'm sure in this case it will be absolutely true. So I get regular questions about how we will see any money for those who bought the Launchpad package. So the videos are still there. You can actually track them back and trace them back. And in each package, we explained how many Launchpad tokens, shares, etc. they should have, so they can actually decide whether decide about all of the different notifications and also the calculation on what kind of yield we can reach going ahead. So that's why the way Mickey said, it will also set at what exchange rate a given instrument is moving. So I don't know what to answer to the next question. Patty, maybe you can answer this question. We are now starting to go into ground where we still need to go through and check everything. So we will show you how it all works. And if you ask in what form the transaction fee must be paid, I'm honest, I don't know. So Patty, please answer if you know. And currently, I cannot tell you the language mutation, so to say, as well either. But as I said, next Monday, there will already be a large meeting where we will go on regarding Launchpad and the needs that arose. And then one by one, we will go through them. Shruti, shall I answer this question? Yes. I just couldn't see you turning on your microphone, and I didn't realize you wanted to speak, but I am silent. It's okay. Please go ahead. As you could see, you can support the projects via different chains, and there are some where you pay the transaction fee and where you actually start supporting the project if it's on Hetero, Menens, whatever. But if you are on Mosaic, then you pay a transaction fee. And then after the launch of the project, it depends on the number of issues as to where it will live on, hopefully on Mosaic. But as you mentioned before, people will be chasing them all the time. With fundraising requests, if I heard Patty properly. People also asked about staking, vesting, etc., etc. So I'd like to ask you to come back to these. And there was also a question from a foreign partner about in what way the Launchpad is different from a regular package. So the Launchpad packages were something different. They were only available for a short period of time because once the new legislation was issued, the sale of these packages needed to be stopped. So, Mickey, is there anything else that you would like to add? Anything? There was one question that I would be happy to answer about vesting. Well, that can be said by each project itself. And as to the scheduling of the vesting depends on the tokens, and the platform also ensures the right moves in terms of vesting. Patty, thank you. If there are questions, I'm happy to answer. But there is nothing particular on my mind on top of that. Sorry, I was muted. So, first of all, I wish to say a big thank you to you, Mickey, for introducing the platform in such detail. We'll still be coming back and talking about it lots of times, so please rest assured. Tonight, what was important is to show that indeed there was work done in the background, not small work either in the background. And indeed, I personally also feel, not just because I am biased, but because I can see the excellent team that built it, and I can see the tight schedule of progress. So when I also joined this scheme in my area, I try to make sure that all the functions, everything is built in that comes from our experience. And we wanted to give the best proposition possible, where people find that it's worth coming, where projects want to come, and where projects see that if they are here, it offers them a benefit, a kind of rank that they already got their projects on the Mosaic Launchpad. And we are trustful that the partners who are already here or who will join in the future will join for this reason, to get to know the projects that come into the Mosaic Launchpad and think about how they could participate in supporting this. Because let's not forget that those who have these packages also have the opportunity to be there at the first purchase, so they can be there, they can participate. So there are many benefits that we'll come back to in the future. And of course, the recording of tonight's meeting can be viewed tomorrow already. You can send it on. And of course, you will be able to reach them in each of the 3 languages. So once again, from a distance, I'd like to thank Eva for the English language translation and Julia for the Italian language translation. And I also wish to say thank you to Csaba, who made sure that people can listen to tonight's meeting. So once again, thank you very much. And please don't forget that we'll meet again on Monday at 9 o'clock. We will have the Monday call, so you will see me. And then, of course, we will still be talking about these issues. And of course, if you end up with new questions, please send them in, and we'll try and regularly provide you with answers to the questions. So once again, thank you very much for having been with us. Bye, Patty. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.